We're back for another episode of Tiger Insider. Today we are joined by Coach Justin Horschig. He is our boys cross country and track assistant and does girls and boys really. He'll explain more of that and about his role. But he's a busy person, got some different roles at Bentonville High School, so appreciate you coming in, joining
thanks
us,
for having me.
telling us your story and letting Tiger Nation get to know Coach Horschig a little bit and your background. So thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So just tell us a little bit about your background. If there were a cross-country card or a track card that you flipped it over and you could see, like, tell us a little bit about your background, where you come from.
For sure. I grew up in St. Louis, went to Eureka High School back in the day, and played all the sports growing up, and came from a pretty sport-minded family. 2 older brothers, heavily involved in athletics, so it was always part of my DNA, just competing, doing athletics. Went to school at Harding University, played there, and thought I might go the business route, and then I just kind of didn't love it. Thought back who was some of the bigger influences in my life, and it kept coming back to teachers and coaches. And so I always loved history, so I thought, let's go into something like that with some coaching on the side, and from there graduated and went to the state of Texas and coached football, basketball, and track for 4 years with my wife, and we had a daughter down in Texas, and thought, let's kind of spread our wings and come to the beautiful area of Northwest Arkansas, and we specifically moved here for multiple reasons, but one being the schools and the culture and the community, as many people do. And so from there, I was able to come to Bentonville, which has been amazing. Landed in the Rogers School District for 1 year. The goal was always Bentonville. It was always, how can I become a Tiger? And so got the call late, almost renewed, almost about to go back to Rogers, and then Scott Passmore gave me a call and said, hey, you want to be a Tiger and just coach track? And I thought, that'd be interesting. I loved all the sports I've coached and played, but just to be able to focus on one was really intriguing to me. And so I've loved it. I've been coaching with Randy Raymaker and Mike Power. This is my 5th year at Bentonville High School. And it's been excellent. I've been part of some great championship teams, whether it's cross country, working with pretty much the boys, and then on the track side, working with the boys and girls. Specifically with the track program, I do the strength and conditioning. So all off season, we have kids that just do track. And at a big school like this, they want specialized training for all year long. So I focus on that. And then when we get into season, I work with the horizontal jumps and relays and the 400-meter kids, things like that. So it's been excellent. I love being a Tiger, love being at Bentonville, and it's been a fun journey getting here.
It's awesome. It's quite a story. It's a good story.
Yeah,
that's good. Want to be a Tiger, and then the goal, and now you're here, and obviously having a ton of success with your kids and the program. So tell us a little bit about your upbringing. You talked about a little bit, you're sports-minded. Did you, certain sports maybe you concentrated on? Did you do everything back in Eureka? And is Eureka where Six Flags is?
Eureka is Six Flags, yes. So that's the claim to fame, I guess, in Eureka. It's suburban. It's the furthest western city in St. Louis County. And so grew up suburban lifestyle, much like Bentonville for many kids. I see a lot of comparisons of Eureka High School and Bentonville. It's a big 6A school. There's a lot of opportunity, but it's also a school where you could jump into 1 or 2 sports and just focus on those. I was blessed to really do it all and have the opportunity. I really did enjoy basketball and track more so, and so really, growing up, it was whatever was available. We were going to try to participate in it. Obviously, most of those were team sports. I enjoy the team sport aspect, and like I said, going back to even deciding to be a coach, I think it came down to, outside of my parents and people from my church, it was coaches, it was teachers that I still talk to today. Even to this day, there's still some from Harding that I talk to on a monthly basis, and I think that mentorship and the ability to have that kind of an impact is humbling and a huge task to be part of. So. Is one of those things you can't scratch the itch of not competing. You can't compete anymore, but I can definitely try to have an influence and kind of help kids get where they want to go now.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Is there any one person kind of along the way that would, you just talked about a lot of different people kind of influence you, but is there a certain person or persons that you can point to that really impacted your your journey?
Yeah, for sure. I had several coaches, I would say, on that kind of, sophomore JV level, specifically in basketball, where you're kind of on the fence of, do I really want to, grind it out and work towards that varsity spot, or is this as far as my abilities take me? And so, I had a couple basketball coaches growing up that really pushed me. Some track coaches that helped me find out and navigate, where is a good spot for me? Because the thing about track and field is there's so many different areas that you can fall into, and so just trying to figure that out, that was pretty influential. And instead of just wasting your time or kind of getting frustrated, having that ability to be like, hey, you might fit here, and let's see how you can do. That was big.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure you find yourself doing that, and your kids
for sure.
are on the other side of it now.
Yeah.
So we know that all of our coaches also teach or have some role in our schools. So tell us a little bit about your role. I know it's a little bit different. Than some of our,
for sure.
It's not really a classroom role right now. Although it has been.
It has been.
Tell us about
So this is my 10th year teaching and coaching, right? But you always say teaching first. It's important. I was always doing history until about a year and a half ago, teaching with our social studies department, various courses like world history and civics, economics, things like that. And the BHS, history department's solid. It's a hard cookie to crack. It's hard to get into it because there's good teachers and they stay. And so I had an opportunity to jump into a role as a counselor, and that opened up about a year and a half ago. And I thought it was a great opportunity to just kind of mix it up. There's pros and cons. I miss the classroom to a degree. I miss having 30 kids every hour and a half. But I'm in a counseling role as the college and career counselor at Bentonville High School. So the thing about that is, I'm helping more one-on-one, helping families. It's kind of, a wide stretch, all-inclusive counseling position where, I'm helping families understand, hey, what are next steps for students? I'm helping sophomores, juniors, seniors, even freshmen understand there are options. What are those options and how to get there? And so it's fun. It's been fun. It's been a good role change. It's just definitely different, more of an office setting to sometimes assembly setting rather than classrooms, but I really enjoy it. So hope to continue doing that for years to come.
Big impact. Getting people and showing them the opportunities they have, and I know you do a really good job on your social media. So how can people follow?
Add BHS postgrad. Just to be honest, to connect with students and families, and for them to understand their options, and just to be a really good resource, and that's the biggest thing. So yes, there is a lot of counseling in it, but a lot of times it's exposure to what are opportunities. We have a wide variety of kids. A lot of people think Bentonville just has one type of kid, and that's not the case. And a lot of kids are not just going to college, and college is changing, even since I went there 10 years ago. And so for parents that went there maybe 15, 20 years ago, it's hard to ask for help, but it's necessary, and I'm the one that hopefully helps them and can at least point them in the right direction.
It's cool. It's a big role to have.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah. Tell us about some of your favorite roles that you have, and I know you just talked about maybe something that you really enjoy doing as part of your job.
Yeah, for sure. I would say specifically with counseling.
Sure.
Yeah, I would say when we get all the class together, we have classes of 700-800 kids at Bentonville. Times have changed in the last 10, 15 years, and so as these student body classes are big, when we get them all together and they get to kind of look around and see each other that they probably don't see on a daily basis, it's fun to be in those gatherings. It's fun to kind of talk to them as a big group. And a lot of times those are the kind of moments where big things are coming up and they need to be aware, but try to make them fun, try to keep it lighthearted, but understanding that each year in high school is a big year, and there's different landmark and checkpoints they're gonna come across, and hopefully they can be confident. And then we're giving them the tools to be successful. That's the biggest thing. Whether I'm coaching or doing counseling, one thing a coach always told me is, I'm giving you the tools to be successful. What you do with them is up to you, right? And so whether it's coaching or teaching, just giving them the tools, and hopefully they're enjoying the process.
It's cool.
Yeah.
How about a difficult part of the job?
Yeah, I would say that when I switched over from teaching to counseling, and especially dealing with things that are affecting kids' future, deadlines, things like that, I get quite a bit of communication and emails, and I think that this has given me an insight into the administrative side of education, which I, until this point, haven't touched. And so, organization, communication, effective things like that, I think that every professional needs to deal with, but the scale that I've had to deal with in the last year and a half has been eye-opening. Yeah, for sure.
Keeps coming at you.
It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop.
That's
no.
good.
Yeah.
That's good. All right. Let's flip back to the coaching a little bit.
Yeah.
When you're coaching the Tigers, what about what's your favorite thing to coach?
For sure. So
go-to?
So my focus is the horizontal jumps, and so we're talking long and triple jump, right? But one of my favorite events outside of those jumps, which we have a lot of great athletes and a lot of great kids that have had record school-breaking marks and are top of the state right now, which is fantastic. The 4x4 relay, that's an event that in track and field, it's normally the last event of the day. Sometimes it comes down to it. All relays are fun because it's a team aspect. And in track and field, sometimes you kind of forget that the whole team's involved. The relays, you tangibly see it, right? And so the 4x4, a lot of times it comes down to it, and the 400 is not a boys' race. It's a man's race. It's a woman's race. It's a tough race. 400 meters in a sprint is gonna show what kind of character you have, right? And so that's always fun. And those types of kids that compete in that race, at the end of the day, you've got your team surrounding the inside or the outside of the oval. The energy is there. That's kind of what it's about. Track meets sometimes can take 5, 6, 7 hours. 12 hours with bad weather. But I'll tell you, when you get to the end of the meet, and especially if you're doing well in that meet, or maybe it's a come from behind victory, or maybe a race to solidify the victory, that's when it feels like a team sport more than anything. And that's when you really get to see not only those 4 kids compete, but you also see the team kind of rally behind them. And so as a coach, obviously we want the individuals to do well, and we want those points to add to a team. But I would say that I enjoy the 4x4 and the competitive, nature it brings, and it kind of brings the whole team together.
Yeah, that's a great answer.
Yeah,
it's cool.
I like that. Yeah.
All right, so you've been a Tiger for 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What about a most memorable moment as a Bentonville Tiger? Something that kind of stands out to you, and you've had some recent, right?
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, big state championship.
Yeah. I can go back to my very first state title as a coach. Was my first year at Bentonville. For Mike Power, he's got several rings, several titles. It was my first year as his assistant, and we had a come from behind state clinching victory at Hot Springs for cross country. We had 4 solid runners, and our 5th was kind of up in the air, and he PR'd that day by maybe a minute, something unheard of. Come from behind, we're at the last stretch, Mike and I and the other coaches, and we see him just picking off guys one by one the last 200 meters. And we won that meet, and we beat Fayetteville by about 2 points. And in cross country, that's unheard of. And we were not the favorite. We actually lost conference at Rogers that year, and we had to come from behind to win state. That was awesome. That was like, okay, this is a great place to be. I remember when I first came up here, I was in Rogers for 1 year. Great district, great people, great athletes. And I remember being at a junior high, it was a conference, it was a varsity conference meet. It was over at Rogers. And I remember that was in 2017, I believe. Bentonville not only won the meet, but the Tiger and the Tiger fans that were there, the classmates, the other track kids, the other sports, softball, some football, some baseball kids were there. They had the Tiger on the stick. Not only did they win the meet, but the culture that was there at that point in 17 made me say, I got to get there. And so then fast forward that next year, ended up winning that cross country meet with Coach Power. And that was my first title as a coach. And so even, getting that first title was fun. Fast forward to just this most recent indoor, 2023 indoor on the boys side. We narrowly beat Rogers Heritage, had to have a huge jump that not only is a school record, but he's #1 in the state now, Christian Farrow, great kid, great jumper. Tested him out at a new event, didn't know how he was going to do, ended up blowing everyone's mind, really surprising us, and really that moment of him taking off, I think after his first phase, he got so far that he knew when he took off his second, he told me afterwards, in the air, he was smiling because he knew not only that was going to win the meet, but it was big. And so right now he sits at number 10 as a junior, as a class of 2024 in the triple jump national standings. So that kind of moment, hopefully the more we work on him, he'll get even better and better, and I'm sure he will. So those were big moments. But even just being a fellow coach, I remember being in the end zone watching some of the football games against North Little Rock last year in the playoffs. Unfortunately, the Tigers didn't win that game, but came down to a huge punt return by Cooper Smith, if you remember that. Mm-hmm. And he ran it all the way back for the score, and he ran right into where some of the other coaches kind of sit down in the end zone. And I mean, the stadium was just going berserk. And again, that culture, that climate, you remember those, right? Whether they're your direct kids. I had Cooper in class his sophomore year, so great kid, and just, great students, great athletes, great kids to have in your Tiger program, whether they're yours or they're in another team. You connect with them, you know them, you cheer for them, you want the best for them. And so there's been a lot of ups, there's been a couple downs, and some adversity. And so hoping for a good spring season this year.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Lots of good information.
Yeah.
Now we're going to flip switch a little bit now.
Okay.
Some quick questions, all right?
Let's go.
All right. First job growing up in Eureka,
Missouri.
What did you do there?
Oh, my first job when I was younger, I was an umpire for like Little League Baseball. So I did that just to get cash. I think we got like $20 a game, and that was a lot. And so did that. And then my next actual job, I worked at a smoothie joint. Yeah, and just made smoothies. Was slinging the fruit smoothies, and had that for a couple years in high school. Yeah.
Cool jobs.
Yeah.
Favorite type of food?
Probably American food. Hamburgers, that kind of stuff. Yeah. Always a good hamburger. I'm down for that.
Are you grilling it out yourself, or you have a go-to restaurant?
Okay, burger? Yeah, for sure. Like Five Guys. Okay, we would like a lot of burgers around here. Five Guys, even though that's kind of a big chain. AJ's Burgers over by the community center. I like AJ's. That's good. Hugo's down in Fayetteville, of course, classic. But yeah, I mean, of course, if I can grill it myself, that'd be great. But convenience is nice as well. Yeah.
Lots of options.
Yeah.
All right. Best advice growing up, or that you kind of is your fallback to think about? Yes, this is why I do what I do. This is why I coach the way I coach. Or
for sure. I think one thing growing up, because I wasn't always, the most athletic, maybe the most skilled, but it takes zero skill to give 100% effort. And so I think that's something that I kind of like to instill in young student athletes that are either learning, whether it's how to jump, they're learning how to run more efficiently, whether it's learning to be part of a good team, whether it's learning to just give effort in the weight room. And a lot of times, that's the other thing, the weight room, you can't hide. You can't hide in the weight room, and that's what I love about it. I love about the weight training aspect of off season and during the season. And so again, it takes zero skill to give 100% effort, and I think that's something that if more kids can just be humble and remember that you don't have to be the best skilled kid to be the hardest working, and that doesn't go unnoticed.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's golden. All right, it's the Horschig family. We didn't get a chance to talk a lot about your family.
Yeah.
But if you're going on vacation,
yep.
What's your go-to? You a beach guy? You a water guy? You a mountain guy?
Yeah. So anywhere with adventure. I would say that me and my wife and my one daughter McKinley, that we love to go travel anywhere, see the sights, and maybe climb a mountain or go see somewhere that's something neat, interesting, out of the norm. My personal family, with my two older brothers, my parents, they're beach people. So this summer we got a beach vacation laid out, and they just want to go get the umbrella set up, let the grandkids run around, and just chill. And so to each their own, But I want to, when I'm on the beach, I want to do something.
Your adventure.
I can't sit still. No, so it's I've got to have something to do. Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah.
If Justin Horschig was not a teacher, counselor, coach, what profession could you see yourself in?
That's tricky because I'm in the industry of exposing students to different industries, right, and different careers. And so I'll tell you what, it's tempting. A lot of these careers come in, and I'm like listening in. I'm like, don't tempt me, because I might do it. Growing up, I was that kid where if you said what I want to be when I grow up, I list about 15 things. I could see myself doing a whole lot of different industries, different career choices. My dad was a business guy. My mom was a teacher. A lot of my relatives and my close family friends are teachers, and so it's hard to think of what it would be like to not do that. It's got to be something that is dealing with communicating, dealing with people. I couldn't sit in a cubicle. I couldn't do a 9 to 5 at a desk job. It'd have to be something that deals with relationships, something that deals with that human aspect. And so who knows what that would be. I'm still at the age where I enjoy my career. I can see myself doing this for years to come. I think this is what I'm supposed to be doing. But there's definitely some options out there that I would never put to the side fully. But again, it has to deal with people. It has to deal with having that kind of relationship. So whatever that would be.
It's cool.
Yeah.
All right, are you a practice guy or a meet guy?
Well, I'll tell you what, with track and field, with the meets being about 12 hours long, it's hard to be a meet guy when it's such a long day. But I will say there are glimpses of awesome moments in meets, and that's what you kind of hold on to. It's the same thing if, when I was coaching football or basketball, it's coming down to the wire, those moments of adversity. Practice is fun though. We try to keep it light. We try to keep it engaging and try to keep the kids wanting to be there. And so I would say more of a practice guy, more of our year, especially with the off-season crew. We have kids that are with us from July, and their season is not until December. It's a long off-season. So we try to do a ton of different things that just make it fun, make it light, because at the end of the day, they're 16, 17-year-old kids. And so we have to have that perspective in mind. When it comes time to compete, they're going to be ready. But we want them to have the passion for something like track and field, where in other sports they're forced to run, other sports they're punished to run. In track and field, for the most part, they're good at running, and so you want to keep that fire under them.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, are you reading a book, listening to a podcast, or are you flipping the channel?
As much as I'd say I'd like to be a book person, I would say I probably get through about 6 books a year. I think that's a good. I mean, not as much as some, but it's it's not 1 book a year. I'd say 6 books a year. I've got to mix it up between self-help and fiction. I would say that I can only do so many self-help books, and I would say that my wife and I probably watch a little TV here and there. We find a show to watch. Podcasts are for the long trips. Podcasts for the family trips where they're hanging out, and I've got the headphones in or the radio on. I would say I listen to probably maybe 2 or 3 good podcasts a year. So probably more books than anything. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, last question. I really think your entire time here has kind of been a testimony to this question, but something we talk about in the athletic department and coaches, and I talk about is Tiger DNA.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
What does that mean to you to kind of end our interview or visit this afternoon?
I think the thing is, when I think of Tiger DNA, I think of the different coaches that are experts in their craft, right? And whether it's the spring coaches up in our office here, or it's the football coaches, or it's the basketball coaches, or wrestling coaches over in their offices over at the building. It's that culture of, they're going to be an expert in their craft, but they're also going to support you in what you do. Our attempt is to share athletes for the betterment of the athlete. Our attempt is to support. You'll catch different coaches going to different events. I like to take my daughter to the basketball games. We of course love to go to the football games. We'll try to catch some baseball, softball games. And for the most part, you can see that with the other coaches. So I would say it's more of a culture thing from the top down, right? Do coaches support other coaches? And do we also respect that they are experts in their craft and they're, continually wanting to learn how to coach better? And so I think that's the big thing, is when I'm around other coaches, not only do I respect them for what they know, but I know they're hungry to know more, and I know that they have a good command of their kids and they hold their kids to a high level. So in the same sense where we're gonna jump on our kids and make sure they know expectations and they know what we expect out of them on and off the oval, in the pitch. I know the same thing goes for the other coaches, And so just that mutual respect is a really neat thing.
Cool.
You know, whether I'm, you know, one of the younger coaches here at Bentonville, I'm not treated that way, right? I think the older coaches, you know, and that's a neat thing. You're not always looked down upon. It's a mutual level of respect. And I think that bleeds into our athletes. I think that our athletes know that there's not one sport that really holds more value, and that they feel appreciated from the top down, and across the board with the different sports.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, I very much appreciate your time. I know you're
Yeah.
busy in all the roles you have. So
appreciate
thank
it.
you, Coach Horschig.
Yeah. Thank you.